think we should have Mr. Champion coming in next.
Oh, hi, I'm here if you need anything. I'm just here for support.
Champion, we are live on YouTube. If you can go ahead and mute. Thank you.
Are there any ways for us to view how many viewers are streaming live?
I can check while we're going, and I can let you know through the analytics. At least we can see it afterwards. Let me see if I can click on it at the same time. Oh, it's 6 o'clock. Let's see. We do have some concurrent viewers right now. I see 9 are in already, and that will continue to go up. It's going up by the second. Hi, my name is Stacy Perot, and I am your school principal here at Sarah Smith. Welcome to our small short session. We wanted to give you some information on the MAP results that we sent home last week. And so we have our very own Assistant Principal, Davy Portee, who is one of our testing coordinators, who has information that she'll be sharing with you. The QR code here on the very first page links to our note sheet. So concurrently, we'll try to answer your questions as you go along. We'll pop that QR code back in a couple other times. So if you don't catch it this time, you can most definitely catch it on a later stream. The note-taking sheet was also included in the message about today's meeting, so it is located there as well. Ms. Portee, I'm going to turn it over to you to walk us through the MAP testing information.
Excellent, excellent. So this is a new one for me, doing this kind of presentation just on a screen without people. Those who know me know that I'm a walker and a talker, so bear with me as I proceed through this presentation. So MAP testing 101, what is it? There are several things we're going to talk about today. We'll start with a general overview of MAP. We'll talk about what the performance measures are. What are all these numbers and things people are talking about, RIT and goodness, what is a PR? Like, what are those things? We'll talk about when the assessments are actually taking place, the makeup of the test, the various content areas that are tested, things that you can do at home. We'll kind of touch on that just a little bit, not much, and then we'll have some time for questions. So let's get started. What is MAP testing? So MAP is a nationally normed assessment that we use kind of as a universal screener or tester for our kiddos to kind of gauge where they are and what they know. It is a computer adaptive test, which means that as students begin to test and answer questions, the computer actually adjusts the level of questioning based on their answers. So as students begin to get answers correct, the questions get a little harder. Once they kind of reach that threshold of, ooh, this is getting really hard, the test again adapts so that the questions become a little easier. This gives us a true gauge of where our students are in their band of learning. There's a cute little link right down here at the bottom for parents later. When we've ended this meeting, you can have access to an, what is it, Stacy? It's a PDF that we've uploaded that you guys will have access to. And when you get there, you can click this link, and it's a cute little NWEA, which is the organizer of MAP. It gives you a nice little understanding of what MAP growth is. So you can look at that a little later. Just a little nugget. So MAP gives us instructional insight. So it gives teachers a very clear understanding of where their students are. It allows for students to receive some instruction based on their tailored needs. So for example, we'll talk a little later about these instructional reports. When teachers run small group centers, they often use this data to group children together to work on certain skill sets. So we use a lot of this data to gear and guide instruction. It also will give us a picture over space and time. So because we've been taking this assessment now for a good 2 or 3 years, we've got MAP scores for fall, winter, and spring over a span of time so we can see how our students' levels grow and or need support. So who takes MAP? All of our students from K-5, all students, all needs take this assessment. It assesses reading, math, and fifth graders actually even take science because it's tested in fifth grade on milestones. So we need that data to help guide their instruction. Again, it is computer adaptive. So as students begin to proceed through this test, some kids will hit something in math and they'll say, oh my goodness, what are these crazy decimal things? I haven't seen these things before. Oh, well, you know, that's because you did really, really well. And it's not typical that you would have had that exposure in class yet. But basically, it says that your teacher is ready to start teaching you some new material. So it also prevents frustration, right? If a kiddo is kind of hit that threshold of their level of understanding, the computer immediately adjusts and gives them an easier question. So they use that tandem of high and low to figure out exactly where the kiddo is. Let's see what else. I don't want to read slides to you because I know you guys can read. Let's keep moving. Stacy, if I start talking too fast, let me know. You know I'm a fast talker. Okay.
So far, so good. You have 32 viewers right now, by the way.
We're getting up there. Let's see if we hit 50. Very exciting. Okay, so there are going to be two things that you'll see on your MAP report. You'll see a RIT score and a percentile ranking. So let's talk for a really quick minute about what it means for it to be a RIT score. Your RIT score is basically your raw score. What did you get correct? It's not pass fail. It's just a quick little snapshot of your students' academic level compared to peers just like them. Okay, so that was not get to the right part yet. So their raw score, when you look at your parent report, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, you'll see what looks like a line graph, and then you'll see numbers at the top. That is your student's raw score. And it can be anywhere from, I want to say 100 to maybe 300, somewhere in that scale is where your student will land. And the beautiful thing about this score, again, when we get to the parent report, remember, this is that one that you're going to see on that line graph, where you can see sometimes peaks and valleys. Sometimes we get that wonderful, that trajectory of just pure growth, but sometimes we go up and then down a little bit and then up again. So this is that RIT score. Oh, I went backwards. Need to go forward. Let's try that again. See, just like that line graph. Okay, percentile rank, often called a PR, is your child's percentile comparison. Remember, this is nationally normed reference. So what that means is students all across the country are taking this assessment, and it ranks your students compared to other students in the nation, but MAP does something a little special. It takes kids who scored just like your kid in the fall, and it kind of puts them in a cohort. And they travel or they monitor your kid only with the kids who scored initially just like yours. So if your kiddo, let's say, scored a RIT of, I don't know, we'll call it 225 on the assessment, MAP will take that kid and compare with other kids who also scored 225 and track them over the winter and the spring to see how they're growing, but not just growing, but growing compared to kids just like them. So this PR is especially accurate and gives us a really clear picture, not just of the students' instructional needs, but how they're learning and growing compared to their peers. And people, I got to tell you, when you're a teacher, that's huge for me to be able to know how my kid is growing. Is he like kind of nonchalant and not really kind of giving me the best that he got? Or is he really, really humping it out and we're really seeing true progress and growth? Or are the strategies that I'm using not quite enough to see the kind of growth that we're looking for? So it allows for a lot of that, wait for that IB term, it allows for a lot of reflection for our teachers and students alike to kind of see what the growth looks like. So again, you can read the slides. A good example here is if my kid scores in the 70th percentile, that means they scored better than 70% of the population. Whereas look at the one for 40%. So if my child scored 40%, he scored 60% lower than other kids. So think about it out of 100, kind of where your kid falls out of 100. And again, this is really about informing both parties, kind of how we're doing comparatively, so we can inform instruction and monitor growth. And there's another really good video at the bottom of this one that talks about what's a good MAP score. Again, provided by NWEA, who is the maker of MAP. So if you want to watch that, I think that one might be 2 or 3 minutes as well. But it gives you a good idea of what all this jargon really means. Now, as I've stated, in all things education, we use these things, right? They're not just taking all of these assessments for no reason. We're using this data for daily instruction. We also use it for several programming needs. So when we talk about EIP, EIP is early intervention programming, and we use MAP scores to determine which students can be selected to receive this additional support. Now, mind you, this is not the only data point that we use, but one that we use to consider when we sit down as a team and we say, hey, Ashley, what do you think about so-and-so? This is just one data point that we can use to kind of calibrate the needs of our students. So students who score at the 30th percentile or below, meaning 70% of the population is scoring better than them or higher than them, we know, okay, we want to make sure we get in early and provide these children some supports so they can excel later on down the road. So this is how we use it for EIP. We also use it, and again, this is for reading and math intervention support. We don't have EIP for science, but we do for math and reading. We also use it to inform our gifted testing. So initially, we take the assessment right now, like in the fall, and students who score 85 or higher are flagged for our gifted team to say, oh, this kid performed really well. Let's make sure that we test this kid in the next round of testing to see if they can qualify for gifted. Now, believe it or not, this very same metrics can be used as the achievement indicator when testing for gifted. There are 4 indicators, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I want to say it's achievement, creativity, motivation, and what's the other one? Somebody pop in. Do you know it? Y'all looking at me like, no, poor T, I don't remember what it is.
It's going to pop into my head. Keep going.
Okay.
I'll pop into my head.
All right, it'll come. I want to say, anyway, the achievement indicator, we can use the MAP score for one of those domains. So that is only if a student scores in the 90th percentile or higher, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind, that in order for it to be used as one of those 4 domains to qualify for gifted, it must be, I want to say the other one might be cognitive. Is it cognitive? I'm gifted certified, but it's been a while.
Yes,
okay.
It is. It is cognitive. I got it.
I love it.
Source.
I love it. Okay. So again, that was a lot to say. Let me say it again. MAP can be used for the achievement indicator, but only if students score 90% or higher. We also use it for screening at 85% or higher. And my gut tells me that I want to say Ms. Palmer sent me a caveat for kindergarten that I think I want to share. You know, guys, we work as a team, and she heard I was doing this, and she was like, ooh, for our kindergarten students, for a kindergarten to be referred for gifted testing, it must be 90%, okay? So if you're a parent of a kindergarten kid, that screening cut threshold is not 85, it's 90 for kinder. It's just a little bit higher. Okay, now this undoubtedly will yield some questions, and if you have any, we're ready to answer them, because I know it's a lot of information, and again, I know sometimes I talk a little fast. All right, Ms. Perot, we're gonna talk about middle school.
I know we got a question in advance. Thank you for that. Wanting to know if Sutton is still using the spring MAP scores as part of their class placements for when the students who are currently in 5th grade rise up to 6th grade. I confirmed with Dr. Merriweather today, and he sent me their advanced content criterion for this year. Said right now it's the same for next year, so I plugged it in here. And you can see that students must meet 4 of the 5 criteria for AC placement, one of which includes MAP scores being at the 80th percentile on the spring or fall MAP administration. So if your baby took MAP and when you got those results last week and it showed 80 or higher, that and they're in 5th grade, you've already met that threshold. The good news is we have opted in to take the MAP in spring. This year, the district had said it would be optional for us to do it. And we all met, we all put our heads together. And although we do appreciate them giving us back that instructional time, we do feel like having the most current data in March for our kiddos will set us up for success for the 26-27 school year. So we're not going to belabor the middle school information. I did link it in the questions as well, so that if we need to go back to it at any time, it's there. But yes, they will use it. Right now, it's the 80th percent.
Excellent. So the question may be, when do they take MAP? Well, again, we take it in the fall, winter, and spring. Our winter administration dates are going to be December 25th, not 25th, good Lord, December 1st through the 12th, 2025. So those first couple weeks of December, we'll start testing again. 5th grade parents, that second week will be designated for science. Just in case you were curious, that's when they usually take it, the second week. And then our spring administration will be just before spring break. Okay, it's going to be that last week or those last few weeks just before we depart for spring break, because we all know the end of April comes milestone. So we're going to try to pre-book that out so that we have some space and time before we start testing again. All right, this should look a little familiar. This is that lovely parent report that I can't imagine what this looks like to a layperson. I mean, as an educator, we know all the rigmaroles. We're here to kind of support you through this. There's lots of direct question and answers kind of at the top to give you the real quick and dirty of, hey, what is this? So you'll see a definition of what your RIT score is right here all around the top. It gives you quick little answers. Here you've got the mathematics scores and your reading scores. These numbers here on the top of this line graph are the baby's RIT scores. Now, mind you, this is just a sample. It's not a Sarah Smith student. Confidentiality and FERPA matter. So understand here that this is the example given. It starts in winter of 22 and it goes to spring of 23. So that's the prior year's data to where this kiddo is now. So this is, the dark line is how your student performed. That dotted line is the national average that we're kind of talking about. So understand that this kid is higher performing. They are sitting at the 62nd percentile, meaning that they scored higher than 62% of the population. And when they compared this kiddo to other kids who scored just like them, so that this was spring of 23, when they took a baseline in fall of 22, that kid got put in a cohort and they monitored those children from fall through spring. This student grew at a rate that's higher than 62 other children in that group. So if they were at the 50th percentile, that would just be average. His growth was average from fall to winter and then winter to spring. But for this kiddo in particular, he scored better than 62% when it came to mathematics. But if we go down and we look at his reading, we can see that his growth isn't as high, and he does kind of trend below the national average. So this might tell the teacher, ooh, this baby didn't really grow as much as I'd like them to. I mean, they hit average, but I mean, are superstars average? Of course not. So we want our kiddos to grow more than the regular. So this might also inform the teacher. But most importantly, what this particular report does is it informs the parent and the student. It gives the parent some information so that they can say, ooh, Johnny, talk to me. How do you feel about reading? Oh, is it really hard? Okay, well, let's find out what are some things that we can do to support you. So again, this is all in the lens of being informational and helping us guide children's instruction collectively as a team. So when we talk about instructional uses, there are also reports that teachers get. And again, this is just a generic model. But what you can see here is at the top, How many of my students actually completed it and have an official RIT score? Sometimes kids are absent. Please don't be absent for MAP because Miss Upshaw and Miss Barnett have to go through and do all of the rescheduling for makeups. And I'm so glad her camera went off. Makeups for MAP is really difficult, but she does a magnificent job. So sometimes a kid might miss the window, and that could be what we see there. And then down here, it shows them a clear picture of where their kids lie, how many kids they have in each of these areas, right? And then as you continue to look, where's my next slide? Again, not our students, just a model. It can even put them into RIT bands and by content area. So if I'm running small groups, I might pull these lower children and give them a dedicated task based on, believe it or not, this report can also tell me the domain in mathematics that these particular children are all struggling with. So I can then pull resources and activities just to address that thing that these 3 kids need. So when I've got my small group at my table and we're working on something hands-on together, I can make my other small groups really intentional because I can group these kiddos according to their need, which is spectacular. That's how we see the growth that we need to see. And then down here at the bottom, you can barely see, it also gives a breakout by kiddo. So not only do they get to see them in groups, they can really hone down to individual kid and what each kid needs. So I know testing often feels like, oh, all they do is test, it's test after test. And we know it's a lot, but we actually use these things to guide instruction, which is how we shore up students who need support and push those who really need some pushing. So it is meaningful, even though we know it takes a lot of time. Oh, look at that, 10 minutes to spare. I think I might have made it. Do you have any questions? What do you see?
Excellent. I'm monitoring the questions in the chat on YouTube and in our form. One of the questions asks is there an average MAP score for each grade available somewhere for Sarah Smith? Average is falling right at that 50th percentile. We really look at the low average comes from 26 to 49, right at exactly at average is 50, and then high average is 51 to 74. And then 75 and above is accelerated. But I will be sharing with Go Team some data on MAP as well as far as how all of our kiddos, in general performed, no names, just by grade level. And kind of look at how that aligns with our milestones. Then there's, and so, the average, it varies by grade level.
And if I could chime in, I'll also say, Stacy, that we monitor, our APS does a great job giving us access to this comparative tool. So while there isn't just a general score, we can see and we do monitor how our students are performing comparatively with not just the district, our cluster, all of those things. So, competitive is one of my strengths and strength finder. So we do actively monitor, and sometimes we even collaborate with other schools. Hey, talk to us. What's working and not working for you? I'm very much so a team effort here in APS, but yes, we do monitor that data as well.
There's a question about if I'm thinking this is about the gifted testing that the scores have to be 85 and up. It's asking if that's for both categories, reading and math, or just one. It can be either one. Either one is possible for that. It does not have to be both. So as soon as they trigger to get further testing at that 85, or in kindergarten, it's 90. Let me go back to our other form. And I believe we have answered everything there. So I will give people just a second in case they have any other questions in the chat. Ms. Porti, thank you so very much for pulling all this together for us about MAP. Parents, on our website, on our school website, we have started uploading all of our parent connections, whether it's from Caffeine Connections, whether it's our gifted sessions that we've held, or this session is up there as well. if you go to our website to where the community and family things are, one of the new drop downs is parent updates. And there's a chart that has all of our sessions from this year. I'm trying to get them all up there. They will all be up there soon, if not already. I was working on that right before this meeting. So anybody else on our Zoom here, admin wise, have anything else you would like to add about MAP testing and this information?
Ashley Champion, neither?
I'll just state that poor T did an excellent job. Left me no room to add anything. It's yeah.
Very thorough.
Oh, ditto. Ashley Upshaw, along with Ashley Barnett, do a great deal of our MAP scheduling. And like I said, she does a lot of the care that it takes with makeup. So parents, I have to stress anything outside of, if you have questions, we're always here for an email or a phone call, whatever you need. But attendance matters. And it's not just attendance during testing, day to day, kids coming to school really makes a difference. And again, in support of my colleague here, makeups during testing is very difficult. So if we're planning a trip to Disney World, please wait outside of the window. We know that family emergencies and sickness do happen, of course. But if we could really take these windows seriously, as a parent, I will share that I always leaned heavier on my kids during MAP, like, hey, we're getting to bed early, we're getting breakfast, we're going to get dinner, because these scores are important, not just to inform instruction, but there's a direct correlation between SAT and ACT scores and MAP. So when the district chose MAP over Renaissance, I don't know if you guys remember STAR from many moons ago, that was one of the caveats that made them really lean MAP. Like there is a correlation between, oop, that's what happens when you don't move in APS. We're conserving energy. There's a correlation. So while this may feel like just one more thing, it's one more really important thing. So let's strive for high attendance.
With that, I want to thank everybody. Ashley Barnett, I see you in the chat. You do so much, and I'm sorry I didn't get you the Zoom link. I unintentionally omitted you, but that way you can screen on YouTube Live and make sure we did it right. With everybody else, I want to say thank you. Next week, the same time, we'll have a session on our AMIRA testing and EIP. And so watch for that information to come out as well. And it will be just like this, a short session designed to inform and answer any questions you may have. There is a question like, is there a breakdown of score knowing if it's vocabulary or other reasons? Your teachers can access a student profile, which they can also print for you as well. It's extremely detailed. When you actually print it, it's so many pages, but it gives teachers a list of skills that students have mastered, things they're developing, and things for the future as well, like stretch options. So you can always ask your classroom teacher for the student profile as well. With that, we're going to sign off because it's almost time for our foundation meeting up here, and I got to go answer the door. So with that, we say thank you and have a good night.